Welcome into Dolphins Today, made possible by True Classic. Get 25% off when you go to trueclassic.com/chat and use promo code chat. I'm rocking one of their polos on today's show as we break down the latest on Dalvin Cook, since that remains one of the top stories out there around the Miami Dolphins. The idea of trading for Josh Jacobs, and if chosen, Anderson is going to end up as wide receiver 3. Now, I am Tom Downey. I am not Will Scott, as I'm sure everyone recognized instantly. Will's off for his sports agent journey, so I'm the interim host. We'll hire a new host before the season begins. They won't be Will, but they'll be a diehard Dolphins fan as well. In the meantime, type Will in the comments section to show him some love as he begins his sports agent journey. I know he's watching, and I know he'll appreciate it. Let's get into the latest then on Dalvin Cook, because we're still going to give you guys videos every single day or close to it on Miami. PFF has named one move for each NFL team, and shockingly, they picked the Dolphins signing Dalvin Cook, which I do think makes plenty of sense. Miami has been heavily linked to Cook. They are the big-time betting favorite out there right now, and reportedly have an offer out to him. Allegedly, it is not the highest offer currently given to Dalvin Cook, which probably explains why he hasn't signed yet, although Dalvin is in no rush to make a decision right now. He's got time. Training camp is about 3 weeks away, maybe 3.5, depending on what days you want to count as the real start. But Cook's not in any rush. Now, there are some red flags in terms of why he's available in July, and it's the regression that he's shown the past 3 years. 5.1 yards per carry. That 2020 campaign, he was a top 3 back in the NFL. 2021, still really good, 4.7 yards per carry. Last year, 4.4. That's not bad, but it's not as good as it once was, and given the shelf life of backs across the NFL, maybe you get a little bit worried about more regression, but if you do the contract correctly, shouldn't be too big of a problem. The Dolphins, of course, are in the market for running back help. They brought back everybody, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, and they drafted Devon Achane out of Texas A&M, who adds to their love of speed, which I have no complaints about at all. Given the Dolphins' ties to Cook, what he wants to do, the fact that he's made it kind of clear I think his ideal fits in the end, reasonable to say you can find room for Dalvin Cook. Maybe you shop a Mostert or a Jeff Wilson, or you just have some depth running back and move on from Gaskin and Salvon Ahmed instead. So what do you think will end up happening? Prediction time. Will the Dolphins sign Dalvin Cook? Y for yes or N for no? This will be today's pinned comment. So if that ad comes here on YouTube, that's fine. Ignore the ad. Head down there and vote. Y for yes, N for no. In the words of my good friend Will, he's a Dolphin. I do think in the end, Dalvin Cook ends up joining the Miami Dolphins, probably on a one-year deal. Now, I think Dalvin will try to leverage other teams' interest in him to get more money from Miami, because that's what smart players and agents do. But the betting odds for Dalvin Cook break down like this. Miami's minus 300. That is a massive favorite. The Jets are plus 250. Buffalo, who may or may not be in the mix, is plus 500. Other teams, the Bengals and Cowboys, have all been speculatively linked, but don't think they've shown much interest so far in Cook. So now what I want to break down is what I would do contract-wise for Cook. I think a one-year deal makes the most sense for all parties involved. It allows Dalvin Cook, if he plays well next year, to hit free agency again. It would allow the Dolphins to have some flexibility of, do we want to re-sign Dalvin Cook? Will we take that comp pick instead? What if Devon Achane emerges? Can he just become your key part of the lead back of your room? Now, the money is maybe somewhere between $5 and $8 million. Like, James Conner makes $7 million. I'm not the highest person on Dalvin Cook, but he's better than James Conner. And if you're going to be aggressive like Miami has been in terms of trying to win football games before Tua's contract becomes rather expensive, I think it is a good idea to try to be aggressive and add a player like Dalvin Cook in that $5 to $8 million price tag range. And if it's bad, well, then it's only a one-year deal, and you're not committed to him beyond this year. Like we mentioned, today's show is made possible by True Classic. You guys can get 25% off your order when you use promo code CHAT, C-H-A-T, over at trueclassic.com/chat. Whether it's tees, polos, shorts, active shorts as well, they have you covered. I'm wearing a polo right now because I'm a big believer in looking good, feeling good, and then talking good. It's funnier if I say it that way as well. The fit is fantastic. It's slim, but not too slim. Hugs the arms just right and tapers off towards the bottom, since I do have a bit of a dad bod after all. They've got so much movement. You can even knock out some reps if you need to at the gym. You can't go wrong with whatever you choose. All true classic clothing is built to be versatile and work with your lifestyle, so you can look your best and feel your best from morning to night. Perfect with the very hot summer now just around the corner. The activewear is perfect, so you're not feeling too uncomfortable there. If you're ready to upgrade your look and your wardrobe, shop now at trueclassic.com/chat. Link will be in the comments section and the description, plus the promo code chat. trueclassic.com/chat. Promo code chat gets you 25% off your order. Another running back idea here is on Josh Jacobs, which I find very interesting. Last word on sports, just the Dolphins are a top trade fit for Josh Jacobs. Now, Jacobs is threatening, at least. I doubt he will, because it doesn't make sense financially to hold out amid his contract talks. Training camp's around the corner. Franchise tag deadline is July 17th. He's been franchise tagged. He wants a big new deal because the running back market has been really, really rough and maybe even unfair to various players. Jacobs, understandably, I don't blame him at all. Players should try to get paid, after all. He wants a bag. Is Miami the team that will give it to him? Jacobs is a really good football player. He was awesome last year, but has had a large workload over the course of his NFL career. And like most players who have gotten paid at running back, outside of like Derrick Henry maybe, even McCaffrey got traded after all, there is concerns about, okay, how long is he going to be able to hold up? He had 340 carries last year at almost 5 yards per clip, but he's had a big workload. That should raise some potential concern in terms of just how much more Josh Jacobs would be able to do. If you pay him, 4 years, big money, by the time he gets to year 2 or year 3, are you a bit worried about him breaking down? So pick a running back to add. You'd have to trade for Josh Jacobs, if not extend him, pay him the franchise tag money, or just sign Dalvin Cook for less. JJ for Josh Jacobs, DC for Dalvin Cook. Now, right now, Jacobs is the better running back. I think he offers you more in all phases and just a better overall player right now. He's also more costly. A trade would probably not be super cheap. You'd have to give a third, fourth minimum, maybe a bit more. Tough to figure out the trade value for a back after all. And you got to pay him more, whether it's an extension, which would be very, very costly. He probably wants, $12 to $14 million per year with the big chunk of that guaranteed, or it's 10.1 on the franchise tag. Dalvin Cook's cheaper across the board from that perspective. So I would actually lean Dalvin Cook. Yes, he's not as good, but he's a better fit, I think, just from an investment level than Josh Jacobs is right now. Will might be gone, folks, but we are still going to have you with videos almost every single day here on Dolphins Today. News, rumors, updates. Not Will. I won't try to be, of course, but we'll still cover the Miami Dolphins fair and objectively. So hit that sub button for more free videos right now. Let's move to Chosen Anderson, as Tyreek Hill seems pretty darn excited about Anderson potentially being wide receiver 3 for the Dolphins this upcoming year. Miami, an offense in general, because running back counts too, they love speed, and Anderson does bring speed. You run a sub 4.4. You run a sub 4.4. You run a sub 4.4. Anderson ran a 4.36 coming out of Temple, by the way. And he's a former 1,000-yard wide receiver, but he has struggled over the last couple of seasons in his NFL career. Can he redeem himself in Miami? Here's what Tyreek Hill said about Anderson, asked who's going to be the number 3 receiver behind, of course, Hill and Waddle. Him being 6'3", I know he was that tall. Lanky was able to catch the ball with these. He's definitely going to help us out in the red zone because he's a taller guy who can run some routes that me and Jalen Waddle may not be able to run. Having him is definitely going to be valuable. Hill does raise a good point. Waddle and Hill are as dynamic as they come. It's the most electrifying duo wide receiver in the NFL. Braxton Berrios is a slot receiver. Cedric Wilson's actually somewhat tall, but he didn't play much last year. Kind of fell out of favor. Miami would love to move that contract, by the way. He can play some slot. Anderson does bring some size, some red zone threat that the Dolphins don't really have right now on this roster. But the question is he going to be good enough this year? Who will be wide receiver 3 then this season for the Miami Dolphins? We'll break down some candidates more in depth, including Chosen Anderson. But sound off in the comments with who you want to be that third receiver behind Hill and behind Waddle. Now, Anderson, who of course named is Robbie and changed the spelling and then changed to Chosen, had a great 2020 campaign. 1,000-yard season, 95 catches. Then the Panthers offense struggles in 2021. He's not as utilized. His average drops to under 10 yards per catch. Cardinals trade for him. He barely plays. Although I would like to point out that the quarterback play in Carolina was a dumpster fire. Kyler Murray was hurt and also was overrated in Arizona. So this is the best quarterback Anderson's played with in a very long time in Tua. Now, there are different options beyond Anderson for that wide receiver 3 role. Braxton Berrios is probably just the slot guy. He had a bit of a down year, too, with the Jets. Cedric Wilson was supposed to be a big impact piece, but then they got Tyreek Hill, and he kind of fell out of favor. River Craycraft, known for some big plays, 2 touchdowns on only 9 catches. Eric Ezunkama was the recent draft pick out of Texas Tech. Maybe he emerges. But there are options for Miami. Overall, I feel good about the depth at the spot.